Joe Biggs here at the Alamo with Infowars.com with members of the Operation Secure Our Borders. Now tell me about that.
The Operation Secure Our Borders is putting together a diverse group of people, some with a lot of experience with being under fire, some with no experience being under fire. And what we want to do overall is protect American lives through shutting down our border, the open border, or shutting down the border problem that we have right now.
And you guys are comprised of, you said militia, three percenters, all that. So tell me a little bit about that as well.
Okay, there's official and unofficial militia in the area, and there's good Texas men and women that are standing up and participating in that. And there's a few of them that have come. We've got some independent patriotic Americans, some with experience and some with minimal experience that are just coming on their own and then organizing around the Secure Our Borders idea and mission. They come down, they take a look at what we're doing and what we're about, and we take a look at them and we decide that these are good folks with good decision-making capacity, and they want to participate in the same mission and the same endeavor that we're involved in. Like for myself, I come from out of state, chasing after that Texas spirit, wanting to say that we can defend ourselves and we can make a difference that's outside some of the corrupt politics that's going on.
So have you guys encountered any kind of problems with local law enforcement or border patrol? Do they tend to hinder you guys from doing anything, or do they kind of welcome your help at all?
Yeah, it's a slightly complex answer, but I'll try to keep it short and sweet. When we're talking to the line operatives, the line officers down on the border, I would say it's 75 to 80% that they welcome the presence as long as it's disciplined and professional. And I tend to think our operation is highly disciplined and very, very professional in their approach. And I think that'll be proven out on how they handle the convoy as well. As what you can tell from our interaction with them is that they're under very strict leashes and collars, and they are not allowed to participate in any way or provide us with any concrete information that would help us be more effective or safe on the border. So, but generally speaking, you can immediately sense the discontinuity between the guy that's in the field and their immediate supervision level. It's very, very apparent. A kind of an example of that that's really important is their equipment and what their status and profile is more like a neighborhood watch. There are guys with badges and blazers and maybe a pistol, and they're not showing anything more. So when we arrive on the scene and we're in much more of a self-defense capacity and capability, then they'll say, hey, you know, if you want assistance from us, call this number, and they're helping us out. But what we say back to them is, well, if you need assistance from us, then you're certainly welcome to call. And we're getting a reasonable head nod because that's men in the field.
Well, I've heard a lot of different stories on mainstream media about the militias out here on the border. So this is a chance for you guys to kind of clear the air and, you know, talk about what it is you're really trying to achieve. You know, I've heard that they've said that you guys, you know, not maybe your group particular, but they look at one militia group and then they try to say that that's how everybody is acting. And they're saying that you guys go around pointing guns at kids coming across the border, things like that. So for the people who are going to be watching, you know, tell us what mainstream media is not saying about the militias, the good that you're trying to do, things like that. You know, how hard it is to, you know, leave your regular jobs, your families, to come down here and secure the border, and especially when you don't have a lot of funding into this, you know, at all. It's got to be a very hard task to complete.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you would ask that question. Like from a big picture down, yeah, these are great, good-hearted Americans. For the most part, they're interested in having a lawful, constitutional America actually here on the ground, that you can see it in operation. And then they take that and they just make that active and real in their everyday life. And so when you gather people together that have that common vision background, these are generous people with good decision making, and they have good discipline. Now, do some people arrive that don't have that? Absolutely. But as soon as you put a band of brothers together and people are picking up arms to defend themselves, and you're going to count on the guy next to you, this becomes a self-licking ice cream cone about that fast. And what I mean by that is we're going to actually remove people that don't have that capacity, that self-discipline, and that kind of heart and spirit. I would challenge any reporter to come on out and spend a night with us when we're in an operation that would be compatible with that, and to understand the heart, the spirit, the discipline, and the professionalism that can be displayed with that kind of collection of men with a little bit of training and a clear sense of what needs to be done. And so you have a bus of people in trouble, and there's a clear sense of what needs to be done. I think that's exactly what our founding fathers said a militia should be able to do, ought to be able to do, and in fact we have a responsibility to do it.
You know, for a lot of people, they think most of these militia guys are just crazy, gun-toting, running around, shoot-em-up kind of guys. You know, they just got these weird ideas. But you told me earlier what your job was before you did this, what you left. Just tell people what it is, what you used to do.
Yeah, I was a math teacher, and I was standing in front of a classroom of great American kids, and I know I can help them to understand the world better, but not when we're told to lie to them and tell them that this is the way it is when reality is much different. And most of them want somebody to do something, and I just reached the point where I said, no, there is something that can be done, but it's not getting done by the typical call and the typical political process. So if there's a way to lawfully and forcefully compel politicians, people that have authority to actually do their job in the right way, then it's going to take a little bit of edgy action. And I understand that people in the public are going to be uncomfortable with the idea that that has to be done. But you're talking to a representative of a group of people that understand that on occasion you can operate completely within the law, but you can be forceful. And when somebody says, at that point in time, when somebody says you're going to do X and you say no, you have the ability to back it. And I would say that most of them have reached the point it's intolerable. They're saying no, and then we're going to back it. We will not allow the border area, the state of Texas, and a subsequent infection of the whole United States to take our Constitution away. We just won't let it happen.
And it's not that you guys are against legal immigration, am I correct?
Oh, absolutely not. In fact, I would suspect that a huge majority of reporters would be overwhelmed by the dynamic, diverse nature and the open-heartedness of the movement as a whole. The soldiers in the field have coarse language, but that does not talk to the character of their heart, and it does not talk to the morality of their purpose.
What people don't understand, though, it's not that anyone's against the legal immigration. It's the illegal immigration part. And then when you look at it illegally, it's, you know, if you go into a movie illegally, you know, you don't pay for a ticket, what's going to happen? They're going to kick you out. If you get on a boat that only holds 10 people, like our country right now has a maximum capacity, basically, and when we start bringing in more people, what's going to happen to that boat? It's going to sink.
Yes. And there's the aspects of overwhelming, but there's also the aspect of if you take a poison in and you take too much poison in, it kills it. And so the poison isn't the immigration. That's what built this country, and we're going to be fine with immigration. The poison is the lawlessness, the absolute lawlessness. You either have an illegal immigration problem, or you have a drug problem, or you have two things that are working together, and they're using both of them to inject lawlessness. And that would be the major point of our mission description and the major point of what most people are asking for. They're not asking to participate or make a more lawless situation. They're asking for the laws that we have to be enforced, and they will step back. But this ought to be embarrassing to our leadership that people actually have now reached the point where they say, I will stand and I will do what you won't do.
All right, well, thank you for your time, sir. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate
it. And
it.
hopefully everybody gets a chance to watch this. I encourage you to share this video. People need to understand what the militias are all about, what they're trying to do, how they're helping secure the border, because our government clearly is not doing its job. I am Joe Biggs here at the Alamo with Infowars.com.
The global globalists have controlled the mainstream media for a long time, but now they're expanding, making the weaponization even more vicious and deceptive. All the major networks are state-run.
We are partnering this year with the NFL.
The NFL has become a political weapon against the Second Amendment and pushes Obamacare. MSNBC tells us that our children belong to the state.
We have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities.
The brainwashing media machine has been turned up on high, and it's time for humanity to double down on the true people's media and strike back against the tyrants that are destroying our civilization with their lies and fraud. We are the resistance. You are the resistance. You are the InfoWar. It is more important than ever to realize that we are not the alternative media. We are the true media. The establishment dinosaur press is dying.
We are in an information war, and we are losing that war.
Join us at InfoWarsNews.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. Members can share their memberships with up to 11 people. By subscribing, you will literally be buying war bonds in the InfoWar to expand our operation in the face of the tyrants. Join us at PrisonPlanet.tv.